So in a moment we should be. Oh, I think we are live. Let me start it off right with a little.
They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome to episode 51. We're one away from the proverbial 52 episodes. It's exciting times. I'm
Wonderful.
Josh Norbito, and we've got Doug, the Dougmeister, right next to me.
Greetings,
Doug?
salutations, and
Hey.
Good day.
And we're waiting for our third magic guy to pop up.
I'm technically
Now-
not waiting. I'm ready to move ahead without the waiting and just
Yeah.
assume that, Jason is doing weird street performer things.
We got lots of topics to bring up too, and Jason knows that we have a little stuff to discuss, him and I. And if he doesn't turn up because of that, then he's just going to get roasted without him being on here, and that's his fault. But look, good to see everyone jumping in. Bob, what's up, man? Good to see you, and I hope you're well. I hope
Hey,
you're
entertain
performing,
these people while I
performing
jump
somewhere.
over to Facebook and let people know we're here, since it is daylight savings time, and even I didn't know we were starting right now. I should inform
That's true.
the dentist.
Yeah. Every time I organize the Magic Guys, it used to be easy. Jason and I live in the same country, so the time should be the same. But now I account for an hour ahead where he's in the future. And now Doug, I knew to just take away 3 hours and then change the AM to PM. That sounds convoluted, but now he's like in daylight savings, but his daylight savings goes the other way. So instead of an hour ahead, he's an hour earlier. But thank you for still jumping on. Like, Doug is the kind of guy you can just be like, hey, Doug, we're on now. And he's like, oh, I didn't know it was today. Okay, give me 5. As long as Doug gets 5 minutes.
This is
He's
my
good- he's
claim
good
to
to go.
fame. I'm ready in
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you need a guy, I'm your guy. Give me 5 and I'm ready.
Yeah, you're the guy. AJ Mouse, what's up? Welcome. We got a lot of woots going on. I like it. Let me give you a little. There we go. Let me woot you right back. You know, last night I caught up with some magician friends, and I just, without even thinking, I was connected. It was a Facebook video chat with like 6 people, and I had the Roadcaster plugged in. And so every time something funny would happen or just whatever, I'd be hitting the cues, and they're like, what the hell is going on?
You're playing the
you just-
room.
yeah, like they're just chatting, on their phones
Yeah, that's
or
awesome.
their laptop mic. And it's good fun. That it really like adds a bit of life into the convos,
Absolutely. It's a great tool too when you're doing those virtual shows. It's something that I have not added to my experience, but yeah, what a good bonus to add that applause cue or laugh moment.
It makes you feel like there's life in the show, like you said. Definitely. And people know when to clap too. When they hear the clap sound, it's like on the video you see them clapping too. It's a weird thing.
I had a fun online experience Friday, which I briefly mentioned last week. I performed at the Magic Castle virtual luncheon.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so
Yes,
this was the
yes.
first Zoom show that I've done in over 18 months, as the very first Zoom show I did was a train wreck, and I vowed never to do another one. But when the Magic Castle came a-knocking, I had to say, heck yeah, I'll give it my best college try. And it was a joy. I've been performing a lot online and social media, and I do lives, but I never have the reactions through that. And you get that through a Zoom show, right? So I got to have that interesting feedback that has been missing from this Black Mirror experience. And I like it.
Yeah, how did
better
it
to have the audience going, oh, ah, and especially an audience of magicians who always overreact anyway. But it was an appreciative audience. And hey, the next day, the guy said, Jack Goldfinger wants my number. So, Jack, I'm ready.
Yes.
Give me 5, Jack.
Listen to that.
I just need 5 minutes. I'll be at the airport.
That's what I'm talking about. Did they let you did you record it? Like even for you, just for your own use?
I did. I haven't even looked at it though, but I did record my end of it. They asked me if they could show it on their Magic Castle luncheon page. I said yeah, which is how I've had a couple guys.
This is
contact
good.
me. I think it was the right choice to like because people just don't know I'm out there. I've never been good about marketing myself, but hey, I'm out there. I'm out there.
And not only are you out there, but you've done good magic in a virtual platform that a lot of guys who are good probably, aren't adapted
like
to
I've
yet.
got experience in this realm. So it's my time to use that to my advantage. Hopefully it turns out that way. And next thing you know, I'll be like, hey guys, I'm at the castle this week.
Oh, bro, that's so good.
Yeah,
Congrats.
it's the bucket
That's
list,
congrats.
checking things off.
If that's not the best audition in the world, I don't know what is, you know?
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess a live audition with a live audience, but for magic enthusiasts, which is what the audience is at the castle, I think it's a good representation. And,
Yeah. What did you choose material that you would normally do in, say, your TikTok lives? Are these things that you're used to performing virtually, or did you put together?
I chose to go with
special-
all the material from the Shin Lim Magic Kit, the Evolution Magic Kit. But
Oh yeah, I heard that's
a
a.
best of, right? That's a
I heard that's a thing.
We're foreshadowing topic.
That's right.
So yeah, I just did kind of my top 5 tricks. You know, I did switchblades, I did rope coins, some card stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we had a
great.
nice Q&A too. They do a nice chit chat after the thing. I did a little kind of encore stuff. It's a good group. They're looking for guys. So I don't know if you're interested on doing a virtual show. He asked me if I had anyone I'd recommend. Only because it was in the States, I recommended my buddy Steve Reynolds. But
Nice. Nice.
they do
I'm
good-
always, you know, of course, that would be an honor to. I don't want to take away anything from your
Well, look,
hard work in getting to that position, but of course, you know, of
look,
course,
there's
we
no-
love doing virtual
My
magic.
hard work
Yeah.
was this. I lived my life, and then someone messaged me and went, "Doug, do you want to do this?" And I said, "Yes." That was our.
Yeah.
That's how my formal agreements go.
I guess the thing is that when you do a performance for the Magic Castle, the magicians that go to the Magic Castle, it's like your choice of material has to be like, you have to show that, you know, the stuff you're doing, you've put your work into, I guess. Like, did you feel that? You know, because obviously magicians have seen,
You know,
like, they know who created the things that.
yeah, and
You're
look,
doing
I
and stuff.
chose to openly speak about those moments, which is something I don't do in general performance. But while I was doing my show, I brought up the creators. I mentioned the history of the effects and kind of joked
Nice.
about the way I was doing it, which is, you know, I think is okay for that audience.
That's probably the right. Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to perform to that audience is to bring up.
I was choosing material and how to present it to this audience for an extended amount of time. You know, as note that this is not a standard thing I do. You know, they say we want 30 minutes, and I can do 30 minutes, but how do I do it in a theatrical way for you know, my peers? You know, an intelligent audience. So,
Yeah, you stated the obvious. Like, okay, I know where this effect came from as well, and
Yeah.
watch this kind of thing.
And I used that a lot as an introduction to me and the magic I was doing through mainly my coin routine. You know, I thought that was a good way to ingratiate the audience into what I was about.
Got Buster Mike, what's up, my friend? Crap,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
late. Did I miss the juice? You haven't? No, we've just been chatting about Doug's performance
say,
at
if
the
you-
Magic Castle virtually.
If you miss the juice, I miss the juice. Now I'm like, what did I miss? Mike knows, and I don't know yet. So, juice is
No.
coming still.
Good to see you, though. Good to see you. This last week was just insane on my end of like, I was really fortunate to do lots of gigs last week, which is awesome.
How many have lost? Like, what did you do last week?
Oh, I did, well, so, you know, I had just come off the back of doing the weekend of
Oh yeah, the vampire
gigs
gig.
at the casino.
How was that, by the way? How did you feel about that event? Being in vampire gear specifically.
Fun, but
Yeah.
not as it didn't feel as cool as when I was there the last time and I was like the feature thing to see
Yeah,
with
right.
my own close up.
Were you just
casino table.
ambient entertainment? Were you more walk around?
Yeah.
strolling? Okay.
Yeah, walk around. There was like 5 other roving people in Halloween attire handing
okay.
out, you know, buckets of candy. There's one magician named Flip, or he's like magician and circus entertainer. He's probably in his 50s now. He's traveled the world, and you know, he's found his place in Cairns with his wife to enjoy their lives. But he
Is it
was
Flip
there
Helena
doing.
from the Dutch rope master? Does the flip stick bald magician? He's older than 50.
He's
Helena.
not bald.
Okay, that's not Flip then. Flip is definitely bald. I don't think he has any hair on his head. Flip,
No, this guy definitely has a good amount
like
of hair.
no eyebrows, like none, zero hair. It's like that with Flip.
Gotcha. Yeah, not him. No.
Okay.
But really nice dude. He was doing a bit of more prop-based magic. Really cool too. Anyway, so it was really fun. It was fun being in a character, but not as prestigious as like I will perform an act for you.
Yeah.
But still good, you know. And then once I got home, then I had 6 events last week. So it was like 1 a day and then 2 on the Saturday or whatever. Because we just so happened to have Melbourne Cup, which is a horse racing event everyone goes to watch. So a hotel had me do some magic there, and then some universities are having some end of year things for their staff, and I did an event for the casino here on the Gold Coast. So it was just for some reason, and a few other of my friends in Brisbane, particularly last week, just seemed to be when a bulk of people were having their events and stuff. Because they were all busy too.
Like a fun potpourri of things to do. What'd you do at the casino, at your local casino? What'd you do there?
That one was probably still fun, but probably the least fun of them because it was a dinner for the platinum members of the casino.
Okay.
So they're the people that are always there on the slot machines and stuff.
The grizzled veterans.
yeah, exactly. So they put on like this buffet in this big room. You know, there's probably like 300 people having this buffet.
Come get some food and lose $500.
Exactly. So I was more ambient noise in that environment.
But you were working you were working their banquet or something like that? That's the situation?
Yeah. So they were eating, and then while they're eating, I'm just doing
for this reason, because casino gigs, in my experience, and I've asked you a couple times about this, are challenging, right? When you're on the floor, and specifically, I've worked the floor. In my opinion, there's 2 kinds of people there. There's people that are on their way to lose money, and then there's people that have lost all their money. And neither one of those want to be interrupted for anything, right?
Yeah,
there's maybe 10% of the casino that are just chilling.
So I'd agree with that at our local one. Yeah. And definitely where I was, like they'd obviously just stop to have this luncheon before they go back to playing.
Right. Like, would you like to see some magic? Bugger off, I'm busy. You know, right? It'd be like that.
But the one in Cairns is it's a holiday destination. Right. So everyone there is like there for an experience, you know? So, and there's a lot of, hens nights, bucks nights starting there. So they want to have some fun, but I never go up to like the slot machines and be like, "Hey, stop doing that. Do you want to pick a card?" I would never win against that. But
have I ever talked about my jester days for Harrah's Casino? I used to walk around in a spandex bodysuit with face paint, and I had a jester hat with bells on it.
What? No, this is new to me.
This was one of the casino gigs in my life. So here's Harrah's opening up their new property. They've opened a temporary casino in the municipal auditorium, and they're hiring atmosphere performers. What are they hiring? Well, we're hiring jesters, but we're allowing you to craft your own character, and we will work with you. Well, one night I'm walking down the stairs about to step onto the casino floor for about, I don't know, it might have been the 10th or 12th night I'm wearing this get up. I'm in this spandex with the makeup and the bells. I just walked out. I just walked out to my car and never went back. I couldn't do it.
Wow. Do you have a photo? Is that what you're bringing up?
Wow. I don't have a photo. Thank God I don't have a photo of that.
Okay.
I mean, granted, in my younger days, and that's when this was 20 years ago, I'm in shape, and, who knows what I look like with freaking bells on my head, but trying to, being in that position when I really had the interest in sharing magic moments. And I'm in this get up, and I'm in an environment where we have those 2 types of people. Leave me alone, leave me alone. And I'm like, but what about the magic? Bugger off, I don't want you here,
That's rough.
And it was just mentally challenging. And so I walked. Yeah. I bet someone has photos. Of course someone does. I don't. This was pre cell phone days, right? So if there might be a Polaroid floating around out there somewhere.
That would be good juice to find.
That would be good ransom for me. Like, hey, Doug, I got this, which will release. You don't pay us the right.
In my time, I've been the vampire. I've been a vamp. Every Halloween, I seem to get picked up for a gig that I ended up dressing up for, which is fine because everyone's dressed up, so it's neutral. I've been the Mad Hatter for an event because it was an Alice in Wonderland theme, so that was still fun. And then
I actually chose the Mad Hatter, and I do have pictures of that costume when I managed the bar. That was one character that I chose to portray. Yeah, that's a magical type of person.
Yeah. I wonder if I can find it fast enough. I'll bring up the picture. But then the other thing I got to be once was an android, like an android magician, and it was for. Just seeing if it will bring up. No, okay, I'll leave it. I'll leave my phone. So yeah, so there's this company that does a lot of themed events. Same one that I did the Mad Hatter thing. And these guys, they have a character called the Android Magician. So whatever city the client picks to have that act, they get their local magician that they work with to become the Android Magician.
What is that? What does that involve? Being an android.
Well, it involves putting on a bald cap.
Okay.
To start with.
Okay.
And all your skin gets painted metallic. And then
even the palms.
I'm trying to think. No. I think it was mainly just the face and neck
maybe.
And ears and that kind of thing.
Sleeves on, huh? You have like some bodysuit or something like that.
I definitely have a photo somewhere, but it's gonna pop up one day in the future instead of me wasting time trying to find it now. But it's a pretty good photo. But so face metallic. I wore like a white suit, but they just put it down low enough that like everything is metallic. And then they draw like what looks like seams like along the skin, along the metallic. It looks pretty cool. Do they have people do this for you? I guess they're booking like several entertainers and they have a team that kind of orchestrates the event. Is that what's happening? So this gig was actually, I bombed so hard on stage. And no one knows who I am. So it's great because I was an android magician. You're doing the stage as an android? So here's what happened, right? And this was back when I hadn't learned all the lessons yet that I needed to learn for bookings. But it was booked through it was booked through an agency. They're like, you're roving. They also want like a little 15 minutes on stage. Can you do that? I'm like, sure. This is how much. They're like, okay, cool. I'm like, great. But I didn't do any research on like the floor plan, the staging, the mic. Just like, I'm working. Yeah, let's go. I'm like, sure, let's do it. Right. Yeah. So it takes like 3 hours of makeup time because they gel down your hair. They put this bald cap on. Stuff has to dry. They put a layer of stuff to make it look the same color as here. Then they put metallic. Pros. They're doing it right. It's a really long time for an hour of roving. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And not factored into your booking in the younger days. For sure. And then I give them my audio ape set, so I can run music and stuff when I go on stage. Okay. And so I see the stage, and this is for a big law firm that we would recognize if I said the name. I just can't remember the name. They're like initials. Anyway, they have a massive room, hundreds of people, but it's just like, this is a rowdy group, and it's too big of a space for not having live projection, for example. Like, that's one thing. And then they have the dance floor of death in front of the stage. And then on the stage, it's just full of band gear. Nice. Where there's no way it's like I'm having people. The trifecta of evil. Yeah, and then there's me as a robot. And they didn't have a headset mic for me. They just had a lapel. And lapels, when you're on stage, are so quiet. And my voice is already quiet, so it's just disaster. So in my mind, I'm about to do a set where I bring up let me just say the smart listeners are making notes right now about what to watch out for when you're booking gigs. Absolutely. I'm glad I learned the lesson as a character people couldn't recognize from doing this gig. That's a big bonus, huh? Because the other thing is no one knows who I am, because this thing really changes what you look like. So they introduce me. They're not listening to the MC. No one is stopping talking for the MC. But the MC doesn't do their job to get everyone quiet. They just want to get out of there. So they introduced me while everyone's still half are talking. I'm like, great. So I get on stage. I bring up 4 people. People are watching for that moment because they're seeing, their peers come up. And then basically for the whole 15 minutes, I'm just performing for these 2 tables out of 500 people. And at the end, I stuff up and I'm doing basically a book test, a version of a book test. And I didn't learn this yet, but when she said the letter her word starts with, that letter, she was saying the date on the magazine, which was Thursday, but she said boy. T. I didn't know that yet, that could be an option. I was like, T means this word. So
you're setting up for the big fail now.
Yeah, so now I've written massively this word. I've written transportation. I'm like, and what was the word? And I've pressed the music cue to start fading up the ending, like crescendo ending. And she says,
You're already celebrating the moment.
Yeah. And she's like, Thursday. And I'm like, huh. And she's like, and she looks at it and she goes, that's not it. And she just walks away. And the crescendo ending music plays. And I'm like, thank you very much. And I walk off. And people just... Doug's gone. And Doug... and
right.
Yeah. And I just fully played off like it works because no one's watching anyway. And I go, thank you and good night. And people just clap because they see me leaving. And it was fucking horrible. Yeah, and I just got out of there. But no one even knew that I stuffed up because no one was watching.
Write those own notes for myself there.
Yeah. Yeah, if you fail, just own it like it worked and people will just go with it. Yeah, yeah. Man, it was horrible. I should have gone in there, seen it, and gone, I won't do stage. I'll do another hour of roving later. That's in hindsight what I should have done.
To be in an Android again, like, is that in your professional radar at this point?
Probably not. Like, for the amount of time it took to get put up like that, I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I haven't done gigs for that company.
No, I've done some interesting character gigs for agents as favors, mainly. When I was younger, I would do a lot of weird things. In New Orleans, we have all these events, so I would be like I'd be in a jazz funeral. I might be carrying I've carried the coffin. I played the zombie leader of the jazz funeral, where I was floating a skull on a zombie boulard.
Oh, yeah.
They call me up and they want me to be food. They're doing buffet tables and they're having food heads. So I was a watermelon.
What the hell?
So I went through the process of becoming a watermelon. Let me tell you this. That was one of the most unpleasant gigs of my lifetime.
Oh, no.
Especially at a discounted rate, because the food doesn't get premium pay. They're at like $50 an hour or something like that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you stick your head up through the table and maybe it's under a thing, or I was just out in the open. I was just like,
that's not good.
Hey, y'all, I'm a watermelon. It's not good. But
Tigger's got the right thing. Like, it felt horrible in the moment. And now we have these great stories and lessons.
Yeah, it's a lesson.
That's why we go through it. Yeah. Now, if I'm doing a stage show, I get sent the floor plan. Like, I've talked to the client directly, even if it's through an agent.
12-page document. They do the blood thing, and then I know how professionals work. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a what's it called? A show.
Yeah, checklist, huh?
Yeah, I have a checklist. Why am I forgetting the actual proper word for it? But yeah, I send them like the thing, like these are all the requirements, and that's pretty much makes it so much easier.
Yep.
But yeah, it's fun having a gamble though, and not knowing what's gonna happen. But
you only a couple times of showing up with like the dance floor of death. I mean, I know sometimes that's unavoidable, but if it's avoidable, you want to avoid it, right? Like if it doesn't have to be in a situation like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. So Jace hasn't turned up, even though he knew specifically we were going to chat about stuff today. So I'll give him a call and we'll see if he.
I did not know that we were going to chat about stuff, but here I am. I mean,
you made it anyway.
That we might chat about stuff on the podcast.
There's always that possibility.
Slim chance chatting happening. Are you
Okay.
trying to call him? Are we having a live phone call right here? Is that happening?
Yeah. Yeah. He's hooked up to this is hooked up to the podcast.
I love that.
See if he picks up. He probably won't, but we'll see. He's probably watching this right now, going, shit.
Heat's on.
Hello.
Jason,
Yeah.
what's up, bro?
Right, yeah, the podcast has already started.
Yeah. Are you, are you joining us today?
Yeah. Sorry, I got caught up doing something.
All right, cool. We'll quickly finish it off and then jump on if you feel so kind to. Doug's here too.
Hey,
All right, I'll be there in a sec.
So,
I'll be there in a tick.
all right, cool, man. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
See if
All
he's
right.
ready in 5. What time is it?
There you go.
26 in daylight savings time, CST USA.
Yeah. All right. Let me I'll say, because there's a clip. I was telling Doug earlier, there's a clip. I watched a podcast last week and Shin Lim was interviewed on it, and I had this little snippet that I want to play, but I'll wait till Jace is on to play it so we can all experience it together. But Tigger has a question, which is, tell us your favorite Jason story.
Well, I've got one. This one time when he asked me to be on his podcast and then he didn't show up the very first time. Remember that
You know-
story?
Yeah, I understand. You know, in the beginning, it was Jason's idea to do a podcast because he was doing his 365. He was in the element of just pumping out content, and he's like, "Bro, we need to do a podcast."
Yeah.
I'm like, "All right then." And now I feel like I just picked up the ropes at some point. And I was like, "All right, I'll keep this thing going."
Yeah. You've done that well. You've done that honorably and like you're always you're very professional.
I try. AJ Shin on Bad Friends. That's the one. Yeah. Because I love Bobby Lee, the comedian. I've just been fascinated with his podcast, Tiger Belly, which has millions and millions of followers. But he was on Bobby Lee's other podcast, Bad Friends. You're right on the money. So this is great that you probably know this is going. Funniest Jason story, though. There are funny stories. Like I know that he went to do a gig out at a university on the Gold Coast, which is like 2 hours away, and he caught the train. And like a 2-hour gig ended up being like a 24-hour ordeal because he's catching the train home. And like I think he missed the last train, so he waited for like 4 hours till like there was like a random midnight train. So like anyway, I'm like, how'd the gig go? He's like, yeah, I like just got home from it now. It was like 8 a.m. That was a bit crazy. And then you know how Jason's always on? Like he's always like on, energetic. He's like that all the time. Like we go in a shopping mall, he's just throwing one-liners to random people. It's one of his talents. But then I finally saw what happens when he runs out of battery, because we were driving back from the Gold Coast and he fell asleep. He went from like 100 to 0 and he just fell asleep, but only for like 20 minutes. And then I'm like, bro, you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm good to go. And he's like, that's all he needed to recharge, was 20 minutes. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Tig. Bob said to highlight Tigger's last comment. I thought Josh was in charge of the podcast. Not by choice, Tigger, just by default of I know how stuff works.
Tigger, I too thought Josh was the one in charge. Am I surprised at any of this revelation? 0. You reminded me of a hell gig I had. I took a Christmas Eve gig. They have a riverboat thing that goes up the Mississippi River. One of the traditions in Louisiana is to light bonfires along the river. And there's a riverboat cruise. It's like 4 hours that goes up and down. And that alone is a lot of work on a riverboat, which riverboats. We go to dock where we took off from, and we cannot dock where we left from, where our cars are, etc., etc. So on Christmas Eve night, when the plan was to return home at 10 o'clock, I think I got home at like 4 a.m.
Oh no.
And this was still, I have 3 young children waiting for Santa Claus to appear. That was a challenging gig. And
oh no.
Yeah.
That's always been my fear. If I've ever done a riverboat cruise where you're doing magic when people are arriving, and if they forget you're on there, then you're stuck there for 3 hours.
Right. Well, do that. And like I'm on a boat. It's probably 300 people on this boat, maybe a little more. So 4 hours, I've worked the room, right? I've met everybody and done everything. And now we're not docking, and we're on that boat for another. It's probably 3 or 4 more hours. It was an ungodly amount of time. So now I've got to like double entertain. It's like, hey,
Oh my
Magic
God.
Man, you still here? Yep, I'm still here. You know,
Oh boy.
it was a challenge.
That's when you really got to crack out the repertoire. Like
And
the backup,
I also get
the backup
seasick,
repertoire.
so I take Dramamine when I take these
Oh,
gigs,
no.
and I did not prepare to be on the boat for longer than the time we were on for. It was just an all-around memory. Speaking of
Oh
memory,
no, that does not sound fun. Anytime you're seasick, John Armstrong has a really good story about being seasick on his first ever like cruise ship performance.
yeah, that's the
Or, like,
worst one. The first
Yeah.
one is the worst one because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I get seasick.
He said he was vomiting from both ends, and like it was
Oh,
just like
wasn't that
while
bad?
on stage, he accidentally
Ooh.
vomited, and some hit a woman.
Oh,
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we give you Jason. What's up? Morning, bro. Afternoon. Morning.
What's up?
Is he-
Sorry, just reading the comments on the side to see what I missed.
Oh, you're catching up. Yeah, we're talking about bad gigs we've had. Bobby Lee, a clip I want to show you guys. Some good shit. People
A
asking if they missed.
lot of people saying we appreciate you, Josh. I thought Josh was in charge of the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're here, you would have heard it. But we were talking about how in the beginning, it was your idea to start the podcast. You were like pumping out content and every day, and you're like, oh, we should have a podcast too. So I was explaining the beginnings of it because, people want to know more about Jason and the beginnings of the podcast. And I have a clip I want to show you guys too. I've been premising it to Doug
we've
earlier.
been saving this up. Like I don't know what's going on with this thing. I'm ready.
Yeah, I guess we could start with it. So, Jay, Shin Lim did an interview on a podcast last week, and there's a little segment I found interesting that is just worth showing you guys and then talking about it. So, without any further ado, here is Shin Lim on the Bad Friends podcast.
Safe.
So tell me, there's like, like we comics judge each other a lot. Like there's always like a material thing about like what kind of comic that you like and what material they do. Are there magicians? Do you guys, is there such thing as like in the magician world, like a hacky trick?
There's a lot like
Like a
like a
cheap-
gag.
Or like
a-
stuff that you all know that you're like, that's fucking cheap. That's
Oh yeah.
elementary
There's plenty.
shit.
I think there's
Plenty.
stuff that we would even think like, I saw
don't-
that.
I
My
don't
uncle
really
did
know.
that.
I think it's all
like
impressive.
linking rings, like stuff
That's
like
hacky
that.
shit?
Yeah, like even like cutting a lady in half. That's kind
That's
of
my first thought. I thought that was hit. That was
That,
shit.
and that's what we
hacky.
think of too. Like if we see a magician doing that, we're like, come on, dude. Like, can't you do a more advanced version of that?
But
or
the
something
but the
like that?
ring thing seemed that doesn't seem too hacky to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
see, you
it-
wouldn't know that.
Like when Darcy Oak, you know Darcy Oak, right?
Yeah,
From
yeah.
Canada, right? So when Darcy Oak, I love magic. He does the thing where he puts the pigeons in the cage, right?
Yeah.
And he lifts up the cage and there's a woman there.
Yeah.
Right? Is that kind of like slicing a woman in half in terms of like, it's an illusion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's obviously sitting there the whole time. Imagine that girl.
She's not. She's not.
Yeah,
Well,
she's-
obviously, she just appears.
She appeared from the Doves.
she didn't.
Okay, so I love watching Bobby Lee's podcast. The whole podcast is great. So, yeah, I wanted to bring that up because they ask about hacky tricks. And Shin says that linking rings is hacky, but then the comedian actually saves that and was like, I don't think that's hacky. Because I have a feeling he's come across either a Jason or Doug performance of it and realized how cool it is. But what are your
I think,
reactions?
I think that Shin's got the burden of knowledge, right? He just knows too much about magic, and because of that, his opinion is skewed, right? A layperson
well,
has
I-
a totally different opinion of magic.
The opinion that matters is the layman's opinion, and yeah,
Yeah, I
Like,
guess that's what I found interesting. is that
even
the
the way that
layman
he
actually,
addresses it. Your camera's freezing. Oh no. Yeah, even the way that he addresses it is that he goes, oh, can't you do a more advanced version of that trick? As if it's some kind of like magician ego thing, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, as long as the people watching are having a good time, who gives a shit?
in the position that he's in, I think the responsible
That's a
thing
good
to
point.
do is to speak good about the art. And, as is the case, anytime things are presented properly, they play well. So, if it's hackneyed, it's in the presentation probably more than the effect.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so comedians love linking rings. I think that's the end point.
People like linking rings. I've known
Yeah.
this for 3 decades.
I think it's a good trick. It's probably the easiest viral video I can get when I post.
And that still blows my mind, and I see why, because it is, when you guys do it on video, it looks amazing. But I would never have thought, and I've said this before, like I would never have thought that ropes, cups and balls, linking rings would work well on video for TikTok and stuff. But they're like the 3 highest ranked videos that you guys, first got your virality.
Yep.
Virality.
You know what else is a high ranked video now?
My first rope thing, I did it as a throwaway. I was like, well, let me just do this real quick because I haven't posted something in a few days. It blows up.
That's what I did too. Yeah, I was like, I got nothing else to do, so I'll just post this. I was posting like complicated sleight of hand card tricks mostly.
Yeah.
None of those were getting any views.
I did doubt that people would have the attention span for even 30 seconds, much less a minute routine on short form video. And turns out I was wrong about that too.
Yeah. Jace, I titled this video Jason versus City Council because you told me the epic battle you had. That there was, I won't say the ending, but I thought maybe you could tell the viewers.
I was just
because it gives them an ounce of hope, for any buskers out there.
Have you been to a court situation with this thing?
No. Never went that far.
You might have to premise it by what happened in the beginning. But,
it's just difficult to explain. They shut us down because COVID. Right, that was
so you were busking and you got told you had someone actually come up to you and say, "Hey, this prime spot where you make the most money."
Well, it's the whole area. It was the entirety of the area. It was closed off and the reason was because COVID. Right, and I was like, okay, that's not really good.
And this is just after getting freedom again and saying you can go out again.
That didn't last long. So the agreement that we ended up reaching was that as long as we submitted a COVID safe plan, we were allowed to work. So we just had to have like proof that we were abiding by COVID rules, basically. But it was
you kind of jumped a bit of the. You made it sound epic when you told me. You were like, "Bro, I won against the government. I got other performers to like make a fuss. I was giving them hell, and then they finally agreed you can work again." It was like by the end of the week, you'd already sorted this out, so you could go and work again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that I want to publicly post on the internet, though. Do you know what I mean? No. Like it's a big thing, but it's not something that I want to be putting out on the internet.
No, but
it's just basically all it is that if you're a street performer and you're being harassed or bullied off the pitch by anyone, just know that it can be solved if you keep a cool head and address it with a number of people rather than just yourself. People want to work, man. People want to work, and they're willing to.
It's been my experience. I've seen a few lawsuits in this city, and I know of others around the country. And every time that street performers band together to voice their freedom, their to work and to perform, and freedom of speech in this country, especially, they win. It's like you can do your thing.
Well, it's because in most countries there's like a constitutional right to work. And that can't be taken away for an invalid reason, and because COVID isn't good enough. Do you know what I mean? Because that was all we were told. That was the excuse we were given. So I was working and I was doing my shows, and then someone approached me, this security guard, and said that I couldn't work. And then I called the office, and there was just this one dude that was really angry in the office. He was an angry dude, and he goes, I said, "Why? How come I'm not allowed to work? Can we get a bit of a reason?" He goes, "Oh, just because I said so." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "That's not a good enough reason." I'm like, "I'm going to need a reason that's not because COVID or because I said so." And he refused to give me one. And then so that's where it all started. And then it just was me like getting everyone to like email and contact and make sure that we take the proper steps to make it happen. And the end result was that they agreed to let us work. Obviously, there had to be some kind of give and take. So the council was like, if you submit a COVID safe plan, we'll let you work. I say, okay, that seems reasonable. Whatever. seems
I'm
fine.
curious. Are you having theater and sporting events there in your country? Like, are people?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, everything's back to normal. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just it was really bizarre that they would stop street
Yeah.
performers from doing shows. It was just crazy.
Is there any issue with local businesses there that you're aware of? Do they frown on busking at
No,
all?
the pitches are nowhere near any businesses. It's like an
Okay.
open slab of concrete.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Just
the,
one
yeah.
thing.
So the ruling was just the thing it was is that there was just an angry dude in an office who was having a bad day,
Right.
and he just clearly didn't like street performers, I guess.
Yep.
But if you band together, the little guy can win against the big honcho government, and I think that's the lesson here. Well done. Yeah, boy. All right, shall we shall we kick on and chat about this?
Yeah, it's a good trick.
Exposure.
Did you watch this video, Doug?
I sure did. I skipped through the teaching segment of that. I did watch the flourish segment, which I was happy to see that taught because I
Nice.
forgot it from the first time. That broken restore doesn't set well in my brain, so I skipped that part and watched everything else of it. Yeah.
What do you mean set well in your brain?
Just don't care for the effect, but
Yeah. I mean, it's just like a throwaway effect, right? It's
Yeah.
not like anything insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
well,
It's
yeah.
not
I
like
just-
anyone
I'm not
uses
gonna
it.
spend 3 minutes if I'm not
See,
interested.
see,
in
here's the thing. Before we get into this, we need to define what it is that Josh has an issue with. So just because like there's no point in talking about because obviously the only person
Okay.
here that has an issue with it is Josh.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that we clearly define what it is that you don't like about it.
Absolutely. So this is all out of, Jason and I love each other. But we are just going to talk about this and then put it to bed. Agreed?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just waiting for your definition of the issue.
Okay,
What
go.
about if it could be an MMA fight. If we could go
Yeah,
back
don't
to
worry.
that
I'm not going to hold it
scenario.
against you, dude. Come on.
No.
You think I
This
am,
is
not
this
petty.
is this is what the people want. No. So
No, I want you to come to fisticuffs. I'm hoping for some real life scrapping. You go ahead and do your thing.
it might be the only match that would be like interesting for people to watch, I think.
I'm still hoping that
Well,
Ramsey.
next time I go to
thing
Brisbane,
comes
then we'll jump
fruition.
in the ring.
Wait till Chris,
Yeah.
Film it for the
Ramsey
Magic
gets
guys.
his act together.
Okay, so this is not so much like why the video shouldn't be posted. I guess it's more so like how I should deal with seeing stuff that, I didn't want put out or something. Because, every magician must go through this, right? Like something they enjoy and then,
There you
or whatever,
go.
or
Yeah.
someone sees their own effect posted. This is not my effect, but so what
Well,
happened
you as a
was,
professional are thinking about this secret being out there, and maybe it's not.
because so what happened was I was laying in bed. I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm like about to fall asleep. And then I hear a dong, and I'm like, oh, notification. Jace posted a video. And I saw the screenshot, and the screenshot is of an effect that we both know and
Yeah.
learned together. It's somewhat of an underground move. And I'm like, no, he did not just. And what happened was I got this massive rush of adrenaline go through my body, right? At midnight, I'm like, fuck! I'm like, I grab my phone, I'm like, whoa! And Sandy's like, you're not about to go on your phone. I'm like, just shut up! And I like looked at the video, and I'm like, he did not teach it. He did not teach it. He did not teach it. And then I seen it clear as day. Beautiful tutorial, by the way. And I was like, fuck! I'm
was
like,
a beautiful
no, this is.
video.
And
It
what's
was a
happened?
beautiful video.
It was great. But there is one little subtlety you didn't include. But so I watched it and I was like,
there's some stuff that I left out, obviously, but
and I was like,
I took.
so, but basically what's happened is like I said it to you in the message because I just hit you up privately. Like you've opened Pandora's box. Like this trick couldn't be found anywhere on the public forum.
Let me
and
just
now
tell
it's
you.
out there.
Let me just tell you before you carry on saying that I've opened Pandora's box. I just sent you a picture. Pandora's box is already opened. Somebody taught this trick on fucking Instagram Reels and TikTok. It's got millions of views, and he taught it very poorly. And so I was like, you know what? I was like, rather than this being the circular thing, I should probably teach it properly. Right? This is everywhere. This thing has like this video that you're looking at right now is from YouTube, and it has over 1 million views. On TikTok, it has more, and on
This
Instagram,
one-
Instagram Reels, it has more. It's the same trick. The only difference is that he holds it upside down. It's the exact same effect, though.
Same effect, like where the secret is, and I can see why he's doing it too because that guy that does a lot of rubber band magic on Instagram. What's his name? He calls himself Dr. something.
Dr. J.
Anyway, he does that method as well,
Yeah.
going up like this. So I can see they're probably copying him, I guess. And so, like I said, it's not that this shouldn't be online. It's just, I guess maybe when you put this up, did at any point you think, I wonder what Josh will think of me teaching this online? Like, did any of that, like, oh, should I just go, yo, I'm going to teach this or anything?
Well, I mean, what would be that conversation, right? Like,
Or it'd be like, because we both use
are you
this
asking
effect.
if I posted this without regard for your feelings? Is that what you're saying? Like this, like, was it like I just ignored my friend Josh and posted it?
I guess that's probably how I'm feeling. That's what I'm wondering.
Okay, because if so, that's a totally different discussion.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
I'm
wondering
saying
that
I
there's
think
two
I
ways-
need to.
Hold on. There's two ways this happens: consciously and unconsciously. So you could choose. You could say, "Wonder how Josh would think," and then be like, "I don't care," or you could just not have that thought. So there's two ways that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So the way that it happened for me was that I saw that video and I saw another one of another guy teaching it as well, and I was like, okay, this is insane because these guys are like butchering the hell out of it. So I was like, I'll just teach it myself, and so I did. So I taught it, and no, honestly, I didn't think about you until you messaged me about it, and you were like, no, I can't believe he taught it, because in my mind, a snapped and restored rubber band is not like, don't get me wrong. If I went on stage and I was like, here's a trick that Josh does on his stage set, you know what I mean? On Australia's Got Talent, this is how we did the Rubik's Cube solve stuff. That would be something entirely different than just a throwaway effect in the middle of a longer routine. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't remember the last time I did that trick as a standalone thing, was just like, and then the person was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? It's a rubber band trick.
But you do it within your ring routine, because I've seen you break it, then you do the thing that I showed you, the double break.
I can
Put it back
voice
together.
an opinion on this, as I've published rubber band tutorials, and I chose not to explain the broken and restored rubber band. Harry Lorraine's technique, snapped, which I use. Number one, Harry is alive. I don't think he'd be happy with me teaching that rubber band effect, and it's available in his books. So and because I do use it in a professional capacity, like Josh was saying, to end the missing link routine, I break the rubber band to remove it and then restore it. And for all those reasons, I said, that's not true. I did talk about it in a Sunday session as a part of a rubber. I did talk about it behind closed doors, but it's not out in the public.
Gotcha.
Right.
So when I perform it, I use it 3 different ways. One is I use the way you did it. One is the way I use it when the rubber band's broken already. And then the new work that I put on it was being able to break it, put it around someone's hand and put it back together. So I guess we think about this little throwaway thing in different ways. But for me, like, in my mind, it's something that I've been like curating for a while to like find the perfect place to use it in a routine. I'm like, oh, it's an underground move that we share with magicians like in person and stuff. It's like if we were single and this girl gave us a naked selfie for only you and I to have, and we can show people, but then you've just put it out on Twitter for everyone to see. And I'm like, no, it's out there. You know what I mean? It's not that I don't want people to learn
I don't know
it.
if it's quite like that. That's
like, I guess I'm trying
a
to
huge illegal invasion of privacy right there, which
yeah,
certainly,
but the
certainly
feeling
wouldn't be okay.
I guess I'm trying to explain the feeling of it when I saw it posted. Because again, like, now that I've reflected, like, it being there is cool, but fuck, I was like, fucking hell, why is that trick?
Here's the beauty. As a
having to be
professional
used?
and someone that has thought about that effect, you still have those moments that if you do that thing where you break it and restore it on someone's arm, there's no way they make that connection unless
Exactly.
they're a magician.
Yeah.
So you have that evolution.
Yeah, the way that I taught it was as a throwaway trick as well. Like, I taught it because it's already out there, man. Like, this is not new. This is not something that I've done that, like, oh no, it's finally on the internet. No, it's out there already. People have already taught it, and it's already going viral. It's everywhere.
You know what?
And now the question you have to ask yourself is, would you rather some idiot in a freaking mask who does it really poorly teaching it to millions of people, or would you prefer someone that you know actually can do the trick teaching it? You know what I mean?
I guess the step I felt was missed was like
Consoling with you, yes.
If you had sent me that picture, because we learned it from the same guy, right? Like this effect, by the way, originally it's from Dan Harlan. He teaches it, I think, in his first Penguin, and Hansen Chen has showed it in his lecture as well. So, but we were shown it by a friend.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of like one of those.
In some way, we kind of learned it together. So we kind of have this weird thing where we're kind of both attached to it, the effect. Anyway, so I reckon if you had sent me that picture, I would have been like, this motherfucker, yeah, get this motherfucker. Let's make the best tutorial ever. But he didn't. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, a piece of my repertoire is, a small piece. But
I guarantee you that it won't affect you anything beyond how you're feeling today. And if you end up losing financially because someone says, hey, man, we already saw that rubber band trick, I'll happily reimburse you.
Well, it's not like I get, it's like, I know you have to put out a piece of content every day, but like you could have taught a more basic cut and restored band if you had to get content out there. But you chose
I didn't post it just
thing.
I didn't post it just to put content out every day. If that was the reason why I posted it, then I'd be screwed because it's only day, like, was it day 9 or 8?
I mean, but the comment, what you messaged me was, man, I want to cut down on tutorials, but like some people are still here for them, so I got to put out something.
No,
right?
I do.
So that's not. No. I want to teach this beautiful thing.
To be clear, I have a lot of stuff that I can still teach. Right, I have a lot of stuff. I specifically chose that one on account of the fact that it's already out there. Right, and you can, understandably, I feel the only part that I agree with you on is that you feel a little bit upset that maybe I didn't ask you first or talk to you first. That's the only thing that I can think of that I agree with you. Everything else that you've said so far, I completely disagree about why it's on the internet and all that sort of stuff, because it's already out there, and far more people than have seen my video have watched it, right? And it exists and it is out there. And so the only thing that I agree with you on is how you feel about maybe that, your friend didn't ask you first, or that we didn't talk about it first. That's the only thing that I agree on.
You're probably right. Like I've had to really figure out how do I not care about this thing being out there. But it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing. I will just say though, like for those who are watching now, just so you get the extra subtlety, I don't know if maybe you don't remember this bit, but like when you do the snap, if you do the snap, okay, let me get this little bit here. If you get ready, fuck off face. Okay, so if you do instead of doing the snap here, if you actually pull this back, now when you do the snap, you actually physically see what looks like the piece of the end of the band, and then you put it back together. That was one little subtlety. For those who are watching now, you get to see that little extra piece. I think it's worth like, and I would have shown you that if you had sent me like, oh yeah, I'm going to teach this thing. Anyway, that's all I want to say. What are the comments saying? Cyril Thomas. Oh yeah, that's the guy. Dr. Cyril Thomas is that the guy I've seen do this version of the cut and restored. And Ticket T, uncomfortable conversations lead to healthy relationships. That's right. That's why, we can talk about this stuff. And
don't tell that to my wife.
Yeah.
If we had any female viewers, I'd be worried right now. But
yeah,
I feel like I did a Yahtzee joke today about. I just feel like I'm. Never mind.
Okay, I'll put it to bed. The last thing I want to say is at the end of your video, you clearly say, "And I can't believe I just taught you that for free." So something in your head knows that this might be too good to be teaching. Because you even said,
I think maybe you're overlooking.
You said it.
I mean, I start the video off with what's up, guys? Jason Ma the Magician, and welcome back to another episode of I Can't Believe I'm Teaching You This for Free.
But that's how you end the video by saying.
And then I ended the video with that as well. Yeah, it's just full circle, right? Like,
yeah. So you
can't
subconsciously know,
bro. You can't speak to my psychology on this, man. I understand how you feel about the trick, but you certainly can't speak to how I was thinking and feeling about making it, right?
No, I can't. I have to believe there's a bit of you that's like, there's a bit of you that was like, oh, like there's got to be at least 1% that felt a little reserved in making it. I get why you made it. Now that you show me the photo, like I would rather you have a tutorial out there than Mr. Mask Face.
Not only
there's
that,
got to be a little bit that was like, oh, I'm teaching.
Don't get me wrong. It's a good trick. It's a very good trick. And and you know what though is that most of my following is our following. Right, it's the people that are in this chat right now. And truthfully, I would like these guys to know it because they're all, they're all young budding magicians and they're all pretty passionate about it. And the other thing is that it's now on my channel, but there's a few things that I haven't done. So one is it's not the main video on my channel. You can like put it as your main video. I didn't put it as the main video, so it's still there, but it's like it's in the archives of videos, and it's and like I said, yeah, it's probably better than me teaching it than some random neckbeard with a shitty mask, right? As for the subtlety, yeah, that is pretty cool. I should have taught that.
I'm of the opinion that any exposure secrets taught, exposed on YouTube or elsewhere is 100% irrelevant. But I do make considerations for feelings of other magicians when I.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying. So everything to do with this so far, I don't care about, but I do care about Josh's feelings towards it. That's the only thing. Yeah, that's my only thought on it.
Yeah,
everything else is nothing.
I understand how you could have made your decisions. Yeah, and I don't think there was any like sneakiness there that happened or anything like that.
Yeah, of course.
And I understand why Josh is a little perturbed, but
yeah,
we're in a weird evolution of magic where information wants to be free, and a lot of magicians don't want that. And yeah, especially if it's a little underground thing, it's double that. So.
Well, I feel a lot better now. I don't know about you guys.
No, I mean that's what happens when you talk things through, right? But yeah, I mean, okay, I guess we'll put that to bed then. I hope you're happy and you understand there, Josh, and vice versa. Obviously, I'll make sure I console your feelings. I was going to teach the Rubik's Cube solve next, but I guess I'll ask you how you feel about that.
That I actually couldn't care because that's a skill. That's not a trick.
I was going to teach the mind reading trick. The one where you're like, I shouldn't do it. I won't do it.
Just if you're teaching anything that I do, just fucking tell me first, and then I can give you my.
That's the only one. That's the only one. I think that out of all of our repertoires, that is the only trick that you and I both do. If I was to break down our entire routining, I'm pretty sure. Like I know how to do losing control, but I wouldn't teach that. It's too fucking good.
So right? That's where you set the barrier for entry, is if it's more than one phase, is when it's too good.
No, I said losing control. That's the control.
The control. Yeah.
I wouldn't teach that. It's something entirely different. So the thing is that like the stuff that I have taught, if you go through my channel, none of it is marketed, right? All the stuff that I teach is deliberately not marketed. It's not something that would be taking the money out of someone else's pocket. It's kind of the rules that I put when I do this stuff. And then the only things that are taught that could be considered like a little bit like maybe is things like the Victoria control and stuff like that. But messaging people about it and asking permissions and all that sort of stuff is part of it as well. And also, what's funny? What the funny thing about the Zach Mueller's magic tricks are? Which, by the way, I think are still some of my favorites that have been released. He took them down because he was embarrassed by them.
By him teaching on video?
No, because he's a pure cardist now, right? He doesn't really like magic that much, and he was embarrassed that he had created magic, which I found so funny. Because it's like, dude, you don't consider yourself a magician, you don't like magic, but your stuff is really good, really good. Yeah, he doesn't consider himself a magician. He just wants to be a full-time cardist.
Wow, that is interesting.
It is. It's super interesting. But yeah, so I just try and keep that stuff alive because I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was the same with the flicker shot. Obviously, that's not mine. It's a skill instead of a trick, but I taught it because the Verts took it down. But if they ever came to me and were like, "Yo, we're gonna make an actual tutorial on our channel," I'd take it down for sure. But it's the same thing, Like,
so would I. I would take it down too. Thing. Have you seen this? Look at this. Woo! Have you seen that? You put it on the back of your hand and then you do this like. How sick is that?
Right, let me give you the platform. There we go.
Look at this. So you got to take the card. Oh shit! I just dropped it. All right. You got to take the card. You put it onto the back of your hand, and then whee, it just flies.
That's cool. What do you call it?
It's not mine. No, it was taught to me by this. You remember I posted that video of the dude doing the one-handed pressure fan thing with his.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He taught it to me that day. He said, bro, you should try this. It looks sick. And he did that, and I was like, what the heck? It looks insane. In real life, I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, it just sort of happens, right? You can't really tell how it works, can you? Like,
no, not really. Like, because like the
God,
only
just
time
suddenly-
I would ever have a card here is when you're like doing the little flip over bit where it goes back to the deck, you know?
Yeah.
So I've never seen it used as
Oh, you can do like
an aerial
you can do
shot.
like- you can do like a hot shot where you like fire it over here like this, and then you put it on the back, and it's a totally different handling to what you were saying there. See, Spies.
So is that a marketed effect?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not
Sweet.
that I know of, but it was taught to me by like that guy like 2 days ago, and I can't really do it well enough to give it any kind of justice, so I'm not going to be teaching it. But I just thought it was cool. I just wanted to show you that.
Nice. So once you learn it, then you'll put out a tutorial, yeah?
Sounds like a bit of bitterness there, Josh.
Well, it's not a marketed effect. I just wanted to clear that up.
No, I didn't say it was. I didn't say it wasn't a marketed effect. I said I didn't know.
Oh, that's cool.
Not only that, Mr. Joshy, if you want to give me a hard time about it, I'm pretty sure I've got a whole entire website here that I could send on to the old chat called Free Magic Live with Josh teaching magic fucking religiously.
Oh, bro, I hate myself for doing Free Magic Live. No, I don't hate myself. But I was very meticulous with not teaching stuff that was like of.
Didn't you market it? You know, like on the same vein, didn't you market in effect the cut and restored headphones?
Yeah, but that was.
Did you make money off it?
Yeah, there was a barrier to entry to learn that trick. It wasn't just free to like. I would love for you to teach. Your whole repertoire, my repertoire. If there was a barrier,
my point of bringing that up is that the trick already exists, and you guys capitalized on it. You guys made money on a trick that already exists.
Where did that marketed effect exist from?
So it wasn't done with headphones; it was done with string or rope.
And what like where is that marketed effect?
Encyclopedia of Rope Magic.
Is this true, Doug?
I'm only interested in my cat now. I quit listening to you guys about 3 minutes ago.
Oh.
No, my point is though that like let's leave the pettiness aside. We said we'd put it to bed, so let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you need a credit, I'm here for you though. I heard a book, but it's just the end of that conversation.
Oh, we're wondering like if you do rope, like a cut and restored rope using a pull that goes into your breast pocket jacket.
Okay.
What volume is that from?
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Don't know that one. You got a card question?
Okay. Come on.
Oh, I'm thinking who's the first person I saw do that. It might have been Pavel from Switzerland.
Yeah, there's a few versions of the pull version. You know who else uses the pull version? Mac King uses that version. He's been doing it on his stage show for years. How long has he been doing that routine?
He doesn't do that.
The
I
rope.
saw him do that in a comedy club in 1986.
1986. There you go.
Let me tell you about that
1986,
experience.
Josh.
Holy crap. Mac King live in a comedy club in 1986. I was with Tom Frank. That was the night. Oh,
wow.
baby.
Was that when he was buddying up with what's his name? Doing the manipulation
at that
act?
point, he broke away from Lance. Lance would have started work in Vegas, and now Mac is just in the 80s. The comedy club circuit was huge. So there was a lot of major venues for comedians to work in this country. They would, they could just tour the country ad nauseum. So, and he was a headliner. He was top billing. Great act. Oh, baby, that was a good night.
I love the story he talked about where this one casino or this one club owner loved his act, and he knew that in that rope bit he would say, "All right, take your clothes off and tie me up." He'd bring a girl on, and then he said that one day this club owner hired a stripper to be the volunteer, just for his own pleasure. So when Matt King said that, the girl ripped her dress off and was naked, and awesome. he was just like stunned in headlights, and the club owner lost his shit. That is amazing.
I wish I had a stripper.
He did a bit in that show, which I haven't seen him or anyone else do since. But he's in the show. He's and it's a little bit. He goes, "You ever get a little shaving cream stuck in your ear?" He does this, and it just starts shooting out of his ear. Foam. It's just You can see dorky Matt King going, you ever get a little shaving cream?
Shit, that's funny.
Oh, it's great. I guess
Good
it's
old
a
gag
pain in the
magic.
ass to set that up and perform it. But
Man, side gags.
Do you know Sylvester?
the Jester?
Cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Sylvester the Jester.
I don't know him. Tom does, and
Yeah, he's the guy that I find super funny, man. He must have so many pockets in that jacket because he just keeps popping stuff out. Like he pulls the eyes out like the cartoon where they like extend out, and then
love that act.
yeah, it's insane.
It's
It's
so
like when
good.
he does the thumb thing where he hits his thumb, and now he's got a big ass thumb. It's just like, man, he carries a lot of shit on
He
him.
currently walks around, or used to. My understanding is he's been in a bad way lately. His health is not well, but in the day he would walk around with that character full rig working the Magic Castle. He is a living cartoon. That's
Yeah.
what he's like when
Wow.
he's walking around. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
some pictures
pick a
Tom has
cod.
posted of his workshop, where he's building these props, the eyeballs and the tongue, the mouth, all these things. He's a crazy craftsman.
His penguin lecture was just insane when he was breaking down some of the things that's in it and like
Oh,
how
I
he
bet that
rigged
is an
stuff up.
interesting lecture. Yeah.
He talks about his soundboard is on his chest, so when he's
Yeah, right.
moving, he hits them to make the cartoon sounds.
Love it.
And he has like 20 sounds, and it's like, and if I press these two, it'll trigger this different sound. If I hit these two
okay.
instead of this one, it's insane.
What a commitment to the bit, right? I don't think I could be that committed to a character.
Yeah, and then he learned how to do his whole show in Spanish, so he could do the show in Spanish because it's really
I have
just
heard of magicians
a couple
doing
of
that
words.
lately. I know some street performers that can do their street act in different languages, and only their street act, so they can't like speak
Right,
the language.
right.
They just do their street act. In,
I've heard
like,
of that,
German or
learning
something.
it phonetically, not even knowing what you're saying, really. Right?
Yeah, hmm
wow.
yeah. I thought about doing it, but I was like, man, that's a lot of commitment. It's a lot of commitment.
I mean, you know half Spanish already.
Eso sí que es.
Exactly. Yeah, that was so believable the first time you told me that.
Yeah, no, you can use that bit if you want. I'll let you.
Thanks.
You've already
That
been
was
using
good.
it, haven't you? You've already been doing it in your act, haven't you?
Can I do a YouTube
No,
video
but
about
I
it?
will.
Yeah, do it, man. Go ahead. I'll give you permission. Get crazy with it.
Yeah, boy. All right. Last remarks. What are you guys up to this week? Today's what's today? Tuesday, Monday for Doug. What's on
I'm
the
back on the
proverbial
horse. I
calendar?
took like a week off, so I'm just coming back on the horse. I'll be doing my thing,
Yeah, same. Making videos and stuff like that. Just doing my thing.
Yep.
Busking. It's a bit crazy over here at the moment because there's Christmas time's coming in, so it's starting to get real busy.
Are people out? Are people? I think I can't remember. You told me this once before. When people are out in December spending tons of cash on presents, there was a funny thing you said, like they're not tipping as much, or
Well, there is such
Is
a
it the
thing
other
as
way?
too busy. There is such a thing as too busy.
December is
probably what it
never
is.
a great month for me. Never has been.
December is consistent, so it's like you might earn like a touch less than normal, but it's consistent
Yeah.
throughout the entire week as opposed to just the
But
weekend.
like you said, it's busy, right? Like people are out shopping,
Yeah, yeah,
kids
yeah.
are out
So
of school, and
it's
you would
cer-
think it would be better than normal, but you're just like not really seeing.
Yeah, there's
that.
certainly no shortage of crowds, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But
and they're
The,
but
the
they're
issue
not-
that you have, there are days where it's too busy, and then it's difficult to get a crowd because anyone that stops gets swept in the flow
Yeah.
of traffic of people moving through. So there is such thing as too busy. So you
that's
gotta
a big,
find,
that's
yeah,
a big problem around here.
yeah, you got to pick your spots and you got to figure it out. I mean, it looks rough where you're working, Doug, because I imagine if that sidewalk gets too busy, you just can't work. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you got the road as the back of it, and then
Oh, but even that, I mean, that's not my normal pitch. I've just been working there to get content. Where I
Okay.
normally work, though, same thing. Yeah, just that whole area gets busy, and if it's like that, yeah, you can't. But certainly that spot, yeah, and that's why I don't work that spot because it gets jammed up too quick. You
yeah,
can't.
you gotta pick your marks, man. Street performing's a massive like psychological game too. Got to
We-
keep
we
it
brought
going.
this up.
Like, I know a lot of people who just do big shows. They don't have options to do other work. So it's nice that I have these things where I can go do different spots like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
We're gonna get you
typically
some
just
knee,
do big
knee
shows.
pads for Christmas. We're gonna get you some knee pads for Christmas, so you don't be falling anymore, Doug, or
Man,
scraping
I almost
the
fell last
shins.
weekend. I swear to God, I almost fell down.
Shit.
That's funny. I mean, sorry, and I'm sorry to hear that.
As it was happening, I'm like, I'm falling down again.
Oh,
You
no.
should add it to
Maybe
your
get
act,
him,
man.
Jace.
No,
Maybe we get him
I'm
a
still
handmade Yeah, maybe we get him a handmade walking stick that has like a deck holder on it as well. That way you can have all your props
I'll
in the
take
cane.
I'd like one of those actually.
That'd actually be pretty cool, I think.
Thank you.
And on that note,
Have you seen
see you next week.
have you seen the
Oh,
have you seen those like those things they started working on? They're like airbags for like old people, so that when they fall over, it's like and that just surrounds them in a cocoon of like
Wow.
bag. I feel like we should get that for Doug. So the next time he's like, "Oh no, I'm falling down."
Yeah.
He just turns into a burrito, just rolls off the set.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.